The next technique that we're going to do will have us doing a contralateral step press, but we're going to add some variation to it that's going to focus a bit on the forearms, a lot on the biceps, and quite a bit on the pecs. The idea of this is to actually get other areas of the body driving the motion and not just the core and hips. I want the core and the hips to orient most of your motions first and foremost because they're the most important parts of the body. But after a certain point, we have to start transitioning into adding other drivers because the pecs and the biceps are a fundamental part of gait and just in general, most motions over the body. And so right now, what I'm going to emphasize is some movements to help get those muscles to switch on while we go through a contralateral step press. So anyway, we're going to go to the pulley here. We'll be starting. So right now, I'm standing square to you. I'm going to turn my body into a unilateral position, but I'm going to keep my arm back in this direction. Now, this could be a potentially invasive range of motion for the shoulder if you haven't actually prepared for this. If you haven't done the MFR, if you haven't already done the first contralateral step press, this can be invasive. If you feel like it's going to be invasive, or you start going through the range of motion and you start feeling like a crampy sensation or a pinching in the shoulder or any form of numbness, it's a sign that you're probably advancing yourself too far. With that said, this is a high reward technique with a very low risk when you do it correctly. Okay, so first and foremost, we're going to keep the arm extended out this way. Naturally, my body's going to want to rotate in the direction of that. I mean, you could try fighting that, but it's going to be kind of uncomfortable. The idea here is to allow the rotation to happen. You're noticing that your body's already going to be coiling in this direction, so you might as well just kind of go with it. All you're going to do from there is extend this arm out. It's going to be kind of a little bit tricky to balance yourself. Most of your pressure is going to be on your right foot here. You're going to then begin to do an elbow flexion here in this position, okay? So you're essentially just going to go into a bicep curl. You're going to begin to pull. Then from there, you're going to do a slight shoulder press. Not very much. The idea here is just to get the bicep recruited on this. You hold the tension on your bicep, you press, now you hold the tension on your pec. So now my pec and bicep are working together here. The forearm's getting involved with that too. So as I'm going here, you'll see as I'm gripping, that's getting the forearm involved. Now I do the bicep curl, and then I do a little bit of a press. After I get done doing that, I rotate the T-spine to finish the range of motion. Okay? I return back, let the elbow extend, and now I'm right back to my original position. Okay? So again, I'm going to go back into that bicep curl here, institute a little bit of a shoulder press, and keep in mind, my body is still rotated to the right. My hips are rotated to the right, my trunk is rotated to the right, and it's not until I finish that elbow flexion and I do a little bit of a pressing motion that I'm now ready to rotate my body to the left. I'm building all this tension in my core and my hips. If you want to start by rotating your hips a little bit to the left, you can. So you'll see I'm rotating my hips in this direction to maximize that tension in the core. You can do some oppositional rib to pelvis rotation. And then when you finish the press, now you can do the oppositional rotation of the ribs moving to the left and the pelvis moving to the right. If that's too complicated for you, don't worry about it. So long as you're going through the range of motion, you're going to get benefit. So don't worry about it if that is a bit too technical for you. Anyway, we're going to go right back, return the body back, then we slowly let the arm come back. You'll notice that my scapula is retracting here in this position. I'm going to keep it retracted, retracted, retracted. Then I'm going to press. I'm keeping it retracted. And it's not until I get to the very end of this that I begin to induce a bit of that protraction with that thoracic rotation. So you'll see, looks powerful, right? You can see that my whole body is levering into that. Now I can finish the motion, okay? Really focusing on pushing off of that back foot, okay? And again, these are just basic elements of a contralateral step press. We're gonna start, and if you want to as well, to incorporate more glute activation. Again, the better you get connectivity through your lower body, especially the more that you would distribute your weight over to your lead foot, the more you distribute the pressure there and the more you can create ground force to get the glute max and the hamstring involved, the more actual engagement you're going to get in the upper body because they reciprocate one another. They help each other out when you do a motion. So as I go here into my elbow flexion, if I'm holding that tension in my lower body and I feel that glute working, if I'm in that anterior tilt like I would be if I was doing a contralateral step press, I'm going to get more tension on my bicep. When I get to this point here, now I'm going to get more tension on my pec. Now I'm primed and ready to, boom, finish that motion. And now this glute is completely lit as I finish that exercise. Okay, I'm going to do one more repetition, then I'll show you guys how to do this for the other side. So the arm is going to rotate back with the trunk. I let the arm come back. Now I'm right back at the beginning. Again, if you feel like your body is getting thrown off balance, that's a good thing. If you feel like you're completely centered and you're rigid, it's actually not a good thing. I want you to constantly feel like you're like, whoa, how do I find my center of mass? I want you to feel that, because that's testing your equilibrium. It's training your vestibular system, which is responsible for your balance. And on top of that, you're associating your vestibular system. You're getting your vestibular system that helps you balance to connect to your muscles. Neurologically, your muscles are connecting to your balance systems, and this is going to help improve your balance on in your regular day-to-day. Anyway, we're back to here. Make sure that we get that thoracic extension. We do that elbow flexion. Okay, the trunk is already rotated to the right. I do the elbow flexion. I do the press. Now I'm ready to rock. Boom. That glute is lit, but then so is my pec in this situation. Bicep is going to switch off a little bit because we're transitioning into a press, but my tricep, I can feel some engagement going on there. So you guys will see that as I finish there, that tricep is going to light up. Okay, let's switch on to the other side. So once again, I'm back to that unilateral stance. I'm going to rotate my trunk to the left. Arm is extended backwards. Okay, so now my left arm is back. I'm going to do the elbow flexion. Slight press. I step and rotate. Rotate my trunk back. Let the elbow extend. And I'm right back at that same beginning point. Keeping that thoracic extension. Abdominal wall in. Don't let your guts hang out. Don't fall back into that kypholordotic pattern. It's very easy to do that if you already have those natural tendencies built into your body. Let's make sure we hold structural integrity here, okay? That we're not rounding the shoulders. Thoracic extension needs to be on point, especially at the beginning of this exercise. Again, I'm going to do my elbow flexion. Now I press a slight bit, and I finish the range. Creating tension on that grounded leg. Heavy on the left leg. You guys will see I'm primarily on the left leg, but I might even induce a little bit of ground tension, where I might pinch the ground just a little bit, just to kind of load up that left hamstring. I'm in an anterior pelvic tilt here. I got the thoracic extension, induce the elbow flexion, bicep is lit, pec is lit. Now I finish. Right here I got that reciprocity motion going on with the upper body. You can keep your arm here if it feels more comfortable. You can keep it at your chest here. You can keep it at your side if you need to. But at least to get started, it's good to start doing a reciprocity movement. So I'm going to keep my arm out here and then pull it back as I finish the range of motion. Okay, I'm back at it. Weight's heavy on the left leg. I'm about 70-30, about 30%, maybe 25% on the right leg, 75% on the left leg, 70%. I'm fluctuating between that range. I do the elbow flexion, bicep is lit, press a little bit, pec is lit. Now from there, I'm ready to finish that range of motion. Thoracic is extended through the range of motion, almost through the entire range, through the entire exercise. All right, that is a great upper body and lower body exercise. Let's move on to the next one.